I'm Adam, functional bodybuilding coach and physical therapist. Today we're going to work on the shin box position. So in this shin box position, we'll really emphasize the rotation through the hips. So what is the shin box position? Shin box position, I'm sitting on my butt, both knees are bent to 90 degrees, creating almost a little box here between my shins, right? So that's why we call it the shin box position or 90-90 position. So from here, we're just going to do a simple warm-up, just moving from shin box position on my right side over to shin box position on my left side and back and forth. So we're just going to do about 5 back and forth, switching from side to side. Again, this is just a little warm-up for the shin box position. So just make it nice and easy. To make it a little bit easier, just lean your torso back, keep your hands behind you. If you want a little bit more of a aggressive stretch on that hip rotation, you can just keep your torso a little bit more upright. Again, just moving side to side, just as a nice easy warm-up before we get into some of our other movements. Okay, and we'll go back to that start position. Perfect. Okay, so from here, we're going to go through our shin box position. We're going to add in some thoracic rotation. So my arm is going to come straight out to my side, and I'm just going to reach through this gap here, rotating through that thoracic spine. A little bit more is going on than just rotating through thoracic spine. I'm stretching a little bit through the front of this hip. I'm stretching a little bit in the back of this hip as well. So we're just going to do about 5 per side, reaching as far as you comfortably can. You may get a couple cracks and pops. It's okay. You don't have to chase it, but if it happens, it's okay. I'll go one more on this right side. Then we're going to go same thing on the other side. Okay, arm will be straight out to the side. I reach through. If this elbow bends, that's okay. We're really just trying to emphasize that rotation of the spine, a little bit of pulling through the hips as well. If you don't want that elbow to bend, you can just walk it out a little bit farther and keep it straight. Just a couple more. Okay. Now, shin box position. From here, we're going to stretch through this front hip first. So what we're going to do is just lean forward, trying to keep that low back nice and arched. I want to keep my chest up in this position, and I should start to feel some stretching through my glutes or through the back side of this right hip. So again, keep that arch in the low back. Keep leaning that chest up and forward. And I'm just going to hold in this position. Okay, we're going to hold for about a minute. Again, exhaling, sinking into this stretch. But as you sink into this stretch, don't let that low back round. Don't fall forward. Keep that chest up. Keep leaning forward with that chest reaching up. Okay, so we're going to stay in this shin box, this side of the shin box, and now we're going to rotate towards the back hip. So I'm going to turn my torso, trying to face my torso towards this back leg, and now I'm stretching through this back hip. So a little bit of a funkier stretch. You may not feel the same sensation that you feel in your normal stretches, that nice lengthening of muscles. This one you may feel a little bit more deeper pressure in the hip. That's okay, that's what we're going for actually. So again, I'm just rotating my torso. Again, if you need to lean back on this one, just to ease off it a little bit, that's okay. I just want to make sure I'm letting this hip sink down and rotating my torso as far as I can towards that back leg. Okay. If this is easy for you, you want to sit up a little bit taller, you can grab onto the thigh, pull yourself into this position, to make that deep stretch in the hip a little bit more aggressive. Okay, and I'm just holding. And in this one, same idea. I want to keep my back nice and upright. Don't allow my back to round. Keep that little arch in the low back. Okay, perfect. So about a minute on each side, and then we're going to switch to the other side of the shin box, and we're going to do the same thing on this opposite side. So I'm going to stretch this front hip. I'm going to keep that arch in the low back. I'm going to lean forward, feeling that pull through the back side of my hip or through those glutes. And I'm just going to hang in this position, okay, about a minute. Keeping my chest up. As I can go farther into this stretch, I'm leaning forward, but I'm not letting my chest drop. I'm keeping that arch in my back. Go one more exhale. Okay, now we're going to turn towards that back leg. Again, now stretching through this back leg. So I'm going to use my hands for support, turn my torso as far back towards that back leg as I can, feeling that deep pressure here in the hip. Okay. Again, if this is challenging for you, just lean back a little bit farther, walk those hands back. If this is easy for you, you can just grab onto the thigh and the shin to pull yourself a little bit more upright. Okay, again, just holding here for about a minute. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to just do some movements in that shin box position. We've done a little bit of stretching, we've opened up those hips, we've worked on the hip rotation. Now let's just move through some shin box position. So the first one, we're just going to open up the back leg as far as we comfortably can, keeping this front leg on the ground. And then I bring it back, okay? As you do that, you can allow the torso to rotate a little bit and then bring it back. Okay, we're just going to do about 5 on this side, and then we'll go 5 on the other side. Hold for just a couple seconds, really trying to push that knee out. And we'll go one more. Awesome, and then switch sides. Same thing on this side. Bring that knee as far out as you can without letting this front knee come off the floor. The torso can rotate a little bit as you open that leg up. Just do 5 on this side. Awesome. Okay, back to our first side. And now we're going to work on a little bit of more control through this back hip. So we're going to work on a little rotation and really slowing down and controlling that movement. So I'm still using my hand for a little bit of balance here. I'm going to bring my leg up, and I'm going to try to bring my heels close together. And then I'm going to bring my leg back to that shin box position, trying to keep my ankle off the ground as long as I can. Okay? So I bring my leg up, bring my heels close together, and then I hover my leg back to that shin box position, trying to touch my knee before my ankle, or like really holding on before I let that ankle hit the ground. So again, same thing, we're just going to go 5 here, trying to sit nice and upright without crunching through this low back, without side bending, without leaning too much. I want to keep a pretty straight back position as I work on this hip. Okay, just a couple more. And then we'll switch sides. Okay. So again, leaning onto the arm, trying to minimize the movement through the low back, isolating the rotation through this hip. Bring the leg up, and then I bring it back, knee trying to touch first, not side bending through my low back, okay? Just rotating through that hip. Nice and control. Again, a couple of those earlier movements, we're really focusing on the stretching in the rotation of the hip. Now we're really working on the control of the rotation in the hip. Awesome. Okay. Now we're just going to go through that same drill we did at the very beginning. See what's changed. It's probably a little bit easier. So we're just switching back and forth between our shin box positions. Okay, hopefully we can sit a little bit more upright now, just after a few of those stretches and movements. If you can take the hands away, awesome. And just keep easing through this movement. If you have to compensate through the back a lot, you have to round through the back a lot to do it without the hands, it's probably not worth it. I would suggest keeping your hands on the floor and keeping your torso in a little bit better position. Okay, again, we'll just go through about 5. Well, one more on each side. Okay, awesome. So if you want to open up that hip rotation even a little bit more, you want to stretch into those positions a little bit more, go ahead and go through that same sequence 1 or 2 more times.